Topic number two, Riley, please.
So for topic number two, I just wanted to have a big old discussion on conference tournaments ahead of the weekend. And we're going to cover a couple different topics in this. The first order of business that we're going to do is go through the power conference tournaments. We're talking ACC, Big 12, Big East, Big 10, SEC. Recalibrate after a day or two of these tournaments for who we think is going to win this tournament now 2 days in. And I'm also going to say let's do some bold predictions too. Some of these bold predictions they might be obsolete by the time this airs on Friday morning because there are Thursday games, but I still want to do it anyway. And then we'll close the conference tournament dialogue with giving some shout outs to any mid-major tournaments that we find ourselves watching and enjoy watching even.
That sounds good. Where should we start with the conference tournaments?
Let's start with the ACC. After
Okay.
2 days of the ACC tournament, do you still think Duke wins this, or is there someone else whose chances you like?
Uh, you know what? I do somewhat question if Duke like really needs this like some other teams might need it. But I also don't want to. I find myself taking a step back here and think I'm just overthinking it by trying to convince myself that Duke's not the best team in the ACC and that they showed it throughout the year. And in this moment, I think they're going to show it again. So it's not bold. It's not that much of a reset. Well, actually, I'll save a bolder prediction here. But I do think Duke is still the favorite to win the ACC tournament. I still feel really good about that.
That's where I'm at too. I like both Clemson and Louisville's chances. I do think the motivation factor could be real to where it's like I wouldn't blame, like no one would blame Duke at all if they won the ACC by multiple games. They're going to be a 1 seed. Like if they mailed it in a little bit or let their foot off the gas, it's not really going to affect how people view them come tournament time. And I do think it's like, I don't know. In my mind, it's way easier to win 6 games in a row than 9 games in a row. I feel like we very rarely see teams win their conference tournament and then go on to win it all, unless you're UConn. But yeah, I'd still pick Duke to win this. For a bold prediction, I'll go ahead and kick this off. Again, this might not come to fruition by the time this airs, but I think Georgia Tech gives Duke a fight today. I think they lose by single digits behind a Duncan Powell masterclass.
A Duncan Powell masterclass is what you're hitching your bold prediction wagon to.
I like just don't be surprised if Duncan Powell scores a couple buckets in isolation on Cooper Flag. Just don't be surprised when that happens.
You're a sicko, my friend, but I love every single minute of it, and I don't care. So my bold prediction is I think that SMU gets Clemson.
Ooh,
I think SMU gets Clemson. Now, I am admittedly every time I hop on this, I am the world's worst bracketologist by far. I'm not a bracketologist. When I attempt to be one, I don't do a very good job. That's why I got Lucas Harkins. That's why I got him on my side. That's why that's my guy. Um, is SMU in the field currently?
they're not no.
I don't know if okay. Well, if you want to get in the field, a win against Clemson would go a long way for that, obviously. And look, this SMU team, when they get it going, they can pour it in bunches. Like they can really score the basketball. And I know that Clemson's great defensively, but I think there's a world where you get like an SMU offensive kind of legacy performance. This is a team that is top 25 in the country from 3-point percentage. Clemson's defense is good, but they're not. They're good at defending the three, but they're not just like all worldly. I
Mm-hmm.
do think there is a world where if SMU can find a way to keep Clemson off the glass, which is tough, by the way, because Shefflin and Lockett are just monsters, and
Right.
SMU's awful on the offense, on defensive rebounding. But if they can just give themselves a chance to light it up from three, a Boopy Miller masterclass, maybe. I mean, does that not feel like it's just sounds good to you? I think SMU beats Clemson in this game.
I like that pick a lot. I don't know. SMU scares me just because they are like the if I'm trying, okay, how do we say this? If like if Pitt is the LeBron of being Q3, Q4 merchants, then SMU is the Jordan of Q3, Q4 merchants. And I know we're aligned in saying LeBron is the GOAT, so the only one in contention with him would be Jordan. And so that's it here. Like Pitt and SMU are like they're tussling for that title. And I like that like SMU has legit size. They have a really deep front court, and I think that can cause some teams some mismatches.
Mm.
Um, but I just need they have 0 Q1 wins and this would be a great time to get one because they're pretty much auto bid or bust at this point. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do like that shout. I like that bold
Yeah.
prediction.
So yeah, a team playing with something to play for. I think I'll
Mhm.
go with that one.
And people forget, Cart. Remember, we recapped this game last year when Clemson got lit up by Boston College and Quentin Post in the first round of the ACC tournament last year, or their first ACC tournament game rather. They
And
lost
then
by 20 to BC.
made a what, Elite Eight run? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So if you're Brownell, throw this game and try to get back to the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Or try to get back to
Basic math.
Indiana.
Mm. All right. Big 12. Who do you think wins this one?
Okay, so pre-tournament, shout out to Greg. He brought this up at first, and I really think it's starting to kind of come to fruition here. I love BYU in the spot that they're in, given the fact that Iowa State is so beat up right now that I
Mm-hmm.
honestly have been like jokingly, but I kind of truthfully mean it. I think that Iowa State should rest guys. Like get Gilbert
Yeah.
some rest, get Lipsy some rest, get these guys going for the tournament because that's that's the big dance right there. That's the one you want to be healthy for. And this Iowa State team can win some things and they can get to a Final Four, but they're not going to get there unless they're healthy. BYU's playing their first game. BYU's been one of the hottest teams in the Big 12. And one of my favorite things, I love a good exercise demon story, right?
Mm-hmm.
BYU was one of the softer teams in the country to me in the Big 12 early on this year. They went to the Fertitta Center against Houston. They lost by like 90 points. They were visibly pissing down their leg. I want them to get their get back. I want them to knock off Iowa State. I want them to knock off Houston in the next game when Houston beats Colorado. And I want them to get to the Big 12 championship. And once they get there, we'll see what it is. But uh I picked BYU pre-tournament. I'm gonna stick with BYU.
Yeah, I was between this one kind of feels like the most wide open. Like I could see a world where Arizona wins. I could see a world where Texas Tech wins, Houston, BYU, or even Iowa State. Like I know Iowa State's beat up. Sean Gilbert played 11 minutes in their first round win, but I think the fact that they were able to just completely dismantle a Cincinnati team. Granted, Cincinnati's not good, but we've seen Iowa State struggle with bad teams for the better part of a month, and to see them kind of get right a little bit has me convinced there's a chance they could pull it off. But I ultimately will lean Houston in this one just because I think their path is pretty easy. They should be able to rest their starters at least the final 5 minutes against Colorado today. I like their chances against either BYU or Iowa State just because of the way that defense can shut off what has been a prolific BYU offense, and I think they are just the better and more healthy version of Iowa State. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, I think between Texas Tech and Arizona, it's just kind of even going to be a dogfight between those two to get to the championship games. I don't really buy Kansas or Baylor at this point in the year, but like those are tougher matchups than having to go against Colorado in the quarterfinals, I believe, for Houston. So give me the Cougs in that one. Bold prediction for the Big 12. I don't even know if this is bold at this point, but I kind of hinted at it. I think Arizona beats Kansas by 20 today.
Oh, you think it's dog walking?
I think it's a dog walking. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that I mean look, this Kansas team I just think is not it. Like I get it. I think they're not it, but you know why? And this is a good transition to my bold prediction. This Kansas team not being it is why they're going to make it to the championship game.
I know. As I'm saying they're going to lose by 20, I'm like, this would really not be surprising if Self just has them dudes ready today and they end up winning by like 15 to 20.
I think they're going to play 3 straight OT games en route to the Big 12 championship where they lose by 20. They'll lose by 20 eventually, but it'll be in the Big 12 championship. That's my bold prediction for the Big 12. And I feel pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the Big East. Who do you like winning this one?
I hate the Big East tournament this year. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Like I'm really gearing up to watch Villanova in the third
I
round. Like
know. I know, man.
what are we really doing here? Um hold on real quick here. I want to just make sure I got the bracket up to date here. My apologies, people. Is what it is.
I can
Okay.
say I'll get, okay. Yeah, yeah, you go.
Yeah, my fault.
No, you're
Um
good.
uh, so I think right now, I think pre-tournament I was feeling pretty good about UConn getting to the final, right? Like just
Mm-hmm.
Hurley sending the message. Shout out to Greg, he brought this up as well. They're not going to be very good in the NCAA tournament, so they need to find themselves a banner. They didn't win the regular season. They need to leave here with something. Word to Denzel. Um, so for my pick to win it, I'm actually going to go with UConn. to win this one. They have Villanova in this matchup. If they win that game, they will match up with either Creighton or DePaul with a chance to go to the championship. I like UConn in both those settings. So yeah, I'll go with UConn to win the Big East title.
I'll go with Creighton just to spice it up a little bit. I think it'd be partially for the storylines. Like Creighton is, it's funny their offense on the season is only 37th on KenPom, but at the same time, they're the number one team in the country in terms of like 2 point field goal percentage and fifth in assist rate. Like I love some good ball movement. They run really good stuff, and I want to see some offensive fireworks in MSG. I think that's more fun than like the angle of St. John's just dominating with defense on the way to a title. So yeah, I think Creighton gets past UConn and they get a susceptible Marquette team in the final, which gets to my bold prediction. You mentioned this for your Final Four draft. I actually have this prepared for a legacy Cam Jones run through the Big East tournament where he beats St. John's en route to the title game before ultimately falling to Creighton.
Oh, thank you for giving me a bold prediction little push here. We're looking at a Marquette Cam Jones masterclass. He knocks down St. John's. He knocks out UConn in the championship game. He takes it to the guards of Xavier to get it going. I think that Marquette, if I had to go bold here, that would be my team to win the Big East title. They were at one point in the driver's seat to win this conference. Now they struggled down the stretch, but I can't shake the guard play. Joplin's a real streaky player. If they can get Ben Gold to do anything besides cardio, I do like this Marquette team. I like Shaka. So yeah, my bold prediction is for Marquette to win the Big East.
People also forget that Chase Ross threw down a windmill in game.
That
Anytime
was
you have a
crazy.
player, yeah, yeah, I'm always gonna give those teams a little added juice. Let's move on to your league cart. Let's go to the Big Ten. Who do you think wins the Big Ten tournament?
I think Maryland wins the Big Ten tournament. I think Maryland wins the Big Ten tournament. I think that Maryland has the best starting five in the league, and I think that's going to do them well in this setting, being able to play in the. And I think the actually let me make sure. Okay, the bracket definitely falls a little bit better for some other teams, but just in
Mm-hmm.
this spot, having the star power and the strength in the five that they had, if this team stays out of foul trouble, I think that they get there, and yeah, I think that Maryland wins this.
I gotta go with my Spartans. Go green, go white. Shout out to fam. I really like their path here, where like they get to play the winner of Indiana, Oregon. They should win that game by double digits. And then they would play the winner of like presumably UCLA versus Wisconsin. I don't like I texted you and, and Greg this offline and said I feel burned for claiming the Badgers last week. The Badgers burned me. I hated the way they finished the year, and it feels a little bit like Greg Gard and the Badgers might be resting on their laurels. You know, everybody's pumping smoke up their tushes and saying that he should be the coach of the year, things of that nature. I kind of think Sparty might even clap them dudes to remind everybody that this is our league this year. It runs on Jace Richardson and friendship. And if they get oh man, it'd be pretty sick if y'all got Michigan in the finals and got to get a little throw them threes up.
So the
Get the
threes, yeah,
brooms out, throw them threes up.
I would love to see
Um
Michigan in the final. By the way, would love it.
yeah, such a good matchup for the Spartans. What about a bold prediction here?
Ooh, bold prediction. Michigan State loses their first game of the Big Ten tournament. That's my and here's where I'm coming from on this one, Riley. If this team has Final Four aspirations, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at they are currently on a 7 game win streak, I believe it is, a 7 straight quad one victories. They would have to win 3 games to win the Big Ten title, I believe. In the Big Ten tournament, that'd be 10 straight. And then you're looking at in the tournament to get to a Final Four. Basically, you got to win what is it 5 games to get to a Final Four?
Yeah, 4 games.
4 games to get to a Final Four. So this team would have to win 14 straight games, basically against all quad one opponents. I rather them like take a lump right now and Izzo go into the locker room and be like, y'all thought that thing at the center court with Fat Brooks was so cool. You all suck. You're not worth the jersey. You're not worth the logo. I'll rip the logo off the Breslin and make y'all lick and stick it right back the way it was before. Like I need some of that out of my coach. So that's my bold prediction. And I think the team that gets them is their kryptonite. It's Indiana. It's the Hoosiers. It's Mike Woodson, the only man that can take us down at the Breslin Center.
Oh man. Yeah. I still don't see it happening, but I like the prediction. I like Illinois to lose in embarrassing fashion somewhere along the way. I think it comes against Maryland. I wouldn't rule it out happening against Iowa, a resurgent Iowa team that got by Ohio State. I just feel like, again, Illinois is one of those teams where it's like, I gave you my heart and you ruined it. You ripped it out of my chest and stomped on it. I thought I loved you. You let me down. You lost to Duke by 40 plus, man. I can't forgive that. And uh, I kind of think if they go up against Maryland, I could see like Maryland's just the tougher team when you think about like Reese and Queen in the front court, like kind of beating up on that. I know Illinois has some skill up there, but like, sorry Illinois fans, but I think that's where the I guess their Big Ten run ends is at the hands of Maryland in embarrassing fashion.
Never forget that Spencer Hubbard cooked Illinois. That happened.
That's how'd y'all let that happen?
It happened, man.
Spencer Hubbard, dude. He's like the one dude on the team who's like under 6 foot.
It
He's under
happened.
6'5" even, and he beat
Right.
y'all. All right, SEC.
Oh, SEC tournament. I got my Gators winning it. I think the Gators are the best team in the SEC. I think they win it.
I do too. I freaking love this Florida team. I need like a legacy Florida run here, man. I need them to like this might I don't know if this will be bold, but I think that there's a chance they win like their first 2 games by 20. Like they might 20-piece Mizzou, and I wouldn't be that surprised if they 20-piece Alabama. That's going to be my bold prediction. Yeah, they get to the championship game with like absolute blowouts in the first 2 rounds.
Okay, that's a good. That's is that the bold prediction for you?
Mm-hmm. And
My
then they
bold
end up beating them.
prediction is that A&M makes it to the title game.
Ooh.
Yeah, Texas A&M makes it to the title game. They beat Texas in the first game. They match it with Tennessee. I think that they could, it's something about if the Buzz Williams style works of just tough, gritty, bite the floor. So what Solomon Washington say? If you're not a dog, then you're dog food like mentality. I just think that could work for this basketball team, and they're playing teams that I don't think have much to necessarily play for. Not to like
Mm-hmm.
downplay anything, but like Auburn's going to be a 1 seed if Auburn gets to that point. Tennessee is pretty much locked in where they're going to be at. So yeah, let me sign up for a Buzz Williams SEC championship appearance against Florida, where Florida beats them.
So I love that call because of this stat. So these are how A&M has performed in the SEC tournament since 2022. In 2022, they won 3 games, lost in the title game to Tennessee. 2023, they won 2 games, lost to Alabama. I believe that would have been the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
2024 also won 2 games and lost to Florida. I think that might have been the semis as well. So every year since 2022, they've won at least 2 games in the SEC tournament. If they, oh wait, I I I played myself. If they win 2 games in this one, they get to the semis. But just get one more and they get to the championship game.
Hey, one game at a
The
time, Riley.
the point is they've played well under Buzz in the SEC tournament.
100% for sure.
All right, let's close with like a very brief mid-major conference tournament dialogue. Is there any like for me every year for some reason I always find myself randomly tapping into the SoCon championship. I usually find myself watching the ASUN championship. I usually tune into like the Ivy League championship. Is there any mid-major league where you're like for some reason I always find myself locking into this one and it delivers that you want to give the people out there a chance to be aware of
I
putting on
mean,
the radar?
it's not as mid major as you probably want it, but like something about the Mountain West tournament like always does it for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
watching like New Mexico last year with Jalen House going at it. Also, by the way, let's not forget New Mexico last year had Donovan Dent, Jalen House, Jamal Mashburn Jr., and JT Toppin on a basketball
Crazy,
team. Like
crazy amount of talent.
crazy, but like it's just always a fun environment. I'm not sure where they exactly play it. It kind of looks like this weird kind of stadium where all the seats are really on top of the floor. It's like half hotel, half convention center. I don't know where
Is
it's
it?
at, but it's
I think it's in
always a really
Vegas.
great environment. Is it in Vegas?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is in Vegas.
Yeah, it's in Las Vegas in the Thomas and Mack Center.
Yeah, it's just always a good tournament, and honestly, you have a matchup in the first round where if New Mexico wins, they possibly match up with like San Diego State and or Boise State. That could be a really good game. We got our Rams on the bottom half of that bracket, Riley, with Colorado State matching up with Fawcett and the boys in Utah State. I think that it's going to be some really good basketball, especially when you get to that the Friday matchup of the semifinals before you get to the finals. I think there could be some really good basketball in the Mountain West.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I will again mention that for some reason I enjoy the Ivy League tournament. I don't know why. It's only like the semifinals and the finals, but I always
We
find
need
myself watching.
is it Yale? Who's in it?
I have not done prep work. I will learn who's in it on Sunday when I'm watching the finals.
We need
That's what
I need
you
either
gotta go into it
I need
blind.
either Yale or Princeton in it because
Yeah,
Yale's got
true.
Pulakidis and
Hmm.
Princeton's got Xavier Lee. So I need one of those two dudes.
So I believe at least a quick Kim Pom search would lead me to believe that it's Yale, Cornell, Princeton, and Dartmouth. Dartmouth sneaking in at 18 and 13.
Sneaky Dartmouth.
Ugh. Dartmouth's never been to the big dance before. They
No,
get
they have
Cornell
not.
in the first round.
They have
So we
not.
get we get Yale and Princeton in the first round on Saturday.
Oh, we do. Damn it.
Pulakitis versus Xavier and Lee.
Damn it.
I'm tuning into that.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
definitely
tuning
tune
into
into
that.
that. That's a good shout.
The only other mid-major league I wanted to mention was the MAC, just because Akron's really good. Like they have some former power conference players on their roster, uh, namely James Okonkwo, who played at UNC last year. They got Seth Wilson, who started out at West Virginia as well. And they just play really good defense, and they always kind of fit that the giant killer, what's sort of looking for archetype with like the way they
Yeah,
defend and the way they kind of slow down the pace and everything. So if they can win the MAC, I like their chances to maybe pull an upset in the first round. But yeah, fun topic.
good shout. They also go by the Zips, so like we're in. I want to
There's
make
the
that clear. Good shout though, Riley.